everyone, I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm so excited because I'm going to be doing my first palette bingo in a long time. It's been like 6 months since I did my last one, if not even longer. And I was just feeling really inspired and excited by my Pan Those eyeshadows at the moment. I have been working on the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I have 2 shades in here that I'm working on at the moment. And then I recently rolled my Smoke Sessions palette into that project as well. And I thought, how perfect are these palettes together? These color stories are very complementary, really beautiful, and they still offer a little bit of contrast and not a ton of repetition or duplication between the palettes either. But I think they're gonna work so well to create a very cohesive look. So I want to do a palette bingo with both of these actually. So I'm gonna select 2 shadows from my Melt Smoke Sessions palette. It's so hard to say that, I always struggle. My Melt Smoke Sessions palette, and then I'm gonna select 3 shadows from my Natasha Denona Metropolis today for a look. So why don't we just get right on into it? I am so excited for this. So for Smoke Sessions, I'm gonna go from 1 through 8. So we're gonna select 2 shadows now. I have the Pretty Random app here with shadows 1 to 8. And my first shade is gonna be number 7. That is actually the shadow that is in my Pan Those eyeshadow, so that's absolutely perfect. It is this shade right here. Oh my gosh, why am I so awkward? It's this one right here. It's called Sweet Tooth. That gives me one use from my Pan Those eyeshadows actually. And then the next shade is going to be number 5. We're off to a really good start. Shadow number 5 is Space Queen, which is the matte that like perfectly complements Sweet Tooth. It's kind of like a dark teal color, really, really smoky, grungy, and deep, and they are perfect together. So far, we're having a very great monochromatic kind of moment, but we could definitely throw off the vibe with the Metropolis palette. So let's select 3 shadows from here. I'm going to go starting from this corner right here as shadow number 1 through to 7, and then row by row down to 28 here in the corner. So I have the Pretty Random app again. Shadows 1 to 28 are now eligible instead. The 5 is still there from my last poll, but shadow number 17 is going to be my first selection from this palette. Shadow number 17 is such a beaut. It is this shade right here. It's called Imperia, and it is a bright yellow gold. Such a rich, vibrant golden shade, and it's going to pair phenomenally with these colors. Oh my goodness, I'm already so excited. So let's pull another shadow. I can't wait to see what is going to be next. So after shadow number 17, we have shade number 11. And shade number 11 is called Penny, which is perfectly apt for this color. It is a bright orangey kind of copper shade. Such a beautiful color, but it definitely is changing up the color story, changing up the vibe. It's a stunning metallic though, and I do think it will pair really well with these. One thing I have noticed with Penny, and you may have just seen it in that swatch there, is that it is a little bit more dusty, and it seems to have a little bit more kickback than some of the other metallics in this palette, but really excited with how this is coming together so far. I'm hoping that my last shade selection will be a matte, but we will see. All right, so the last shade I'm going to be using is going to be shade number 20. Alrighty, so shade number 20 is a matte kind of finish, so that I did get what I was asking for, but it's not what I was kind of thinking when I said I was looking for a matte. It is this shade right here. It is called Enigma. This one is kind of like a cream to powder sort of formulation, so it will be a great base. And it is a rich navy color. So it's not quite the same as what I have here from the Smoke Sessions palette, but it is very much complementary to that. So this color story is beautiful. Definitely going to be a little bit of a challenge to make all these work in terms of like the metallics working together. But let me just take a moment to take it all in, and I'll be right back to share with you what we're gonna do, what's gonna come to life. I'll be right back. So all I've done is zoomed you in, stared at this, and haven't come up with a game plan at all, but we are just gonna run with it. We're just gonna get into it. This is what I do when I do my makeup anyways, so whenever people ask for tutorials and that kind of stuff, I'm so sorry. I feel like I can't do it because I literally have no game plan when I get into doing my makeup. Things just happen and they become whatever they become. I might be like, okay, I'm gonna use this shadow and this shadow. And all of a sudden it's something that I never had dreamed up before. So that's what today is likely going to be like as well. Of course, we have a bit more direction than other days, but regardless, I'm going to start with the shade Enigma here, that cream to powder formulation. It looks like a really rich navy in the pan, but I think on the eyes it will pull a little bit more teal. And I'm going to use this kind of packer brush here. This is the KJH and Spectrum number 15. And I think this will help to really pack that onto the lid. I did do my base, which I don't often do my base first, but just for the sake of today's video, expediting things and, you know, seeing the look come together a little bit better, I thought I should, but I do need to be very careful because of that. This shadow is beautiful. Look at that color. So I'm just pulling this up a little bit towards my brow bone, diffusing it so that it becomes a softer kind of teal color. I think this will make a really great base for all of the other shades that I've selected. And I'm going to go into Space Queen now. I'm going to use this kind of smaller blending brush, more tapered blending brush. This is the number 17 from that KJH and Spectrum set. And I'm barely going to put my brush in it because these are hyper pigmented and they can create quite a bit of fallout as well. You know what, actually, before I even do that, preemptively, I'm going to use my Too Faced powder underneath my eyes. I'm just kind of going to do kind of a soft bake, just so that it's easier to possibly remove fallout. I am going to just use a tiny, tiny bit of this product. I can always build up, but I definitely can't take it away that easily when it comes to this shadow in particular. So with Space Queen, I'm just going to pop it into this outer portion of my lid here and touch it to the lash line and just kind of wiggle with using the brush to really help to blend and apply at the same time. And I just want to create a little bit of depth in that outer corner, but not take this too far in. And I haven't added any extra product, but I am just going to kind of blend the edges into that. That is such a good color pairing. Ah, they're perfect together, these freaking palettes. I knew it. Okay, I can't seem to decide if I want to do the gold on the lid or if I want to do the bronze, but I feel like my heart is going towards that golden color on the lid. I think so. But I would like to apply a tiny little bit of glitter glue. I'm using the e.l.f. glitter glue in order to kind of just allow that to adhere better and to prevent fallout. And it makes Imperia so beautiful, so rich. So I'm just going to apply that using my ring finger quickly. And I'm going to put this on the inner portion of my lid. Okay, I just changed my mind. I'm not going to use it on the inner portion. I think I'm going to do the teal color on the inside and then the gold towards the outside. I've never kind of applied things in that kind of order, but I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm putting this all over my lid and we're just going to do both of those metallics. Sorry, I just changed my mind, but we're going to go into Sweet Tooth instead. I'm going to put this on the inner portion of my lid. It might be weird to put the gold on the outer portion of the lid, but I've just never done a placement like that before, so I thought it might be kind of fun. And then I'm just going to use my index finger to apply Imperia. I feel like there's going to be a lot of fallout, but oh golly. I feel like I was kind of messy in the way that I applied that, but oh my gosh, this color combo is impeccable. It's so perfect. I'm just going to use the same brush that I had the shade Space Queen on. I have not applied any more product. Just going to use this brush to kind of like clean up where it's placed and add a little bit more blue up higher because I really have only placed the metallic just directly on my lid for a little pop. So I really want to bring this color a little bit more up and kind of clean things up in the process. So what am I gonna do with that last kind of more copper shade? What am I gonna do with Miss Penny? I think that I should try to add that copper shade into the eye look. And I think that would definitely be doable right on that outer corner. So it goes from that cool teal to that warm gold and then a tiny bit of that copper shade. This shade is kind of flaky, so it might go over poorly. I don't know what to expect with it. I've used it a few times and I did notice that to be kind of a consistent issue is it's very flaky. But I mean, let's give it a go. So I think I'm gonna use like another kind of flat packing kind of brush for it. This one is the Zoeva Luxe Smoky Shader. I'm just gonna go right into the shadow directly with this brush. And as you can see, probably, it kind of picks up only the flaky metallic. It doesn't really seem to pick up a ton of base pigment, if that makes any sense. I don't know how this is gonna apply, but I think I'll spray my Cover FX High Performance Setting Spray onto the brush. And that might help it adhere a little bit better. And just apply it right on that outer corner, right on the edge of the gold. And it almost becomes one with the gold. Yes, it's giving me definitely a multi-chrome kind of vibe. That is so cool and pretty. And it's also giving me a lot of fallout, but thank goodness I got a lot of powder. So I'm just going to go back into the shadow. My brush is still a little bit damp, so I think it'll help it pick up the shadow. I love the way that looks together. I really love that. That is so fun. And just because we're here, I'm going in with my pinky finger into the same shade, Penny again, just so that I can really amplify it. Oh my goodness, look how much better it applied with my pinky. Yeah, the brush was not the way to go with this one. My bad. I just wiped off my pinky. I'm going to use it again to kind of apply a little bit more of the golden shade, Orium, to kind of mesh those two shades together a little bit. And then with a clean finger, I'm just going to go over both those edges so that it becomes very seamless. And then I'm going to just use whatever's left on my finger to kind of blend together that copper and gold too. Yeah. That looks so fun. And I think I'm going to try to just clean it up again. So again, not adding any additional product onto this brush that had the one from Smoke Sessions, the matte from Smoke Sessions on it. And I'm just going to continue to clean up my kind of crease. And then I really want to get rid of this fallout and this powder under my eye. So I'm just going to add a tiny bit more powder onto my brush, work it into the brush, and flick. I'm really into the way that all of these colors are working together, and I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to see how it comes together with the lower lash line. So I think I'm going to use that same smudger brush with the shade Enigma. Is that what it's called? Enigma? Yes, that is what it's called. I'm going to place it on the outer 2/3 or outer half of the lower lash line. I don't want to bring it too far in because it will really close off my wee eyes. And before I go any farther, actually, I am going to use this itty bitty pencil I have. This is my Annabelle Waterline Matte. I don't know why I even looked at it because it literally just says Anne on it. But this is the Waterline Matte in the shade Mint. I'm going to apply this to my waterline quickly. I'm just going to apply the shade Orium onto the inner portion of my lower lash line, I think, to really brighten up the lower lash line. This is just a tiny little detail brush from La Beauté Soy. I don't know which brush this is, but I'm going to try my best to avoid any kind of fallout. And I'm just going to be very, very, very particular with the placement of this. And then I just wiped off that brush, and I think I'm going to go into Sweet Tooth from the Smoke Sessions palette. I should just say Smoke or Sessions, not both. It's so hard to say those words together. And I am just going to apply that to the outer portion of the lower lash line, all the way for that kind of outer half, outer 2/3, so that the lid and the lower lash line kind of are opposite to each other. I think I'm just going to do another blend with no other product on here and just blend all this again. You know what? I am going to add just a tiny bit of Space Queen to the outer corner on both the upper lid and the lower lash line. Just a tiny bit. Barely even noticeable, but a little bit of something something. And then I'm tapping off the brush and I want to just kind of amplify the blend in this crease kind of area. It's not really my crease, it's like my faux crease because my hooded eyes. And then on the inner corner, should we go for that copper or is that too deep? I think that might be a little bit too deep. So I think I'm gonna go for that gold on the inner corner. I have this little brush here from KJH and Spectrum. Again, this is number 21, and I'm just going to use this to apply the gold to the inner corner. I do feel like this is kind of a bit too deep of a gold for my inner corner, so I think I'm gonna grab a highlight and kind of soften it a bit. I just grabbed my Vesca. This is the Stargaze Luminous Glow Highlighter in Wish. It is a very soft golden shade, kind of like a peach gold. And so I'm just gonna use that same brush and just top that off with that so that it's not quite as yellow gold and it's more of a soft inner corner highlight. And this is not cheating for the palette bingo, right? I do this like almost every time I do a palette bingo. I use something else on the inner corner. While we're here, let's just put a tiny bit of this on the brow bone. Then I'll just use my finger to blend it out. And here we go. Here is the completed look with lots of mascara. I probably need to clean up a little bit of mascara underneath my eyes, but yeah, I really like the way that this came together. I did end up popping on this kind of warm peachy kind of shade for the lips. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Angel Alessandra. This is a really nice creamy peachy color, and I think that these warm peaches go so well with like teals and greens. So I felt like this was a great way to finish off this look. You're gonna have to let me know down in the comments what you think about how it all came together. The placement of things, like, is this something that you would do? I mean, it's not typically how I would either like place any of these metallics actually, but I think it's fun to switch things up, try something a little bit different. And I'm really happy with the way that it came together and how it just has that feeling of being like a multi-chrome. It's so fun and it's so different for me, even though these are like my kind of colors that I can love to live in. I love to wear these kind of colors. Is very different from my usual placement, and I'm really happy with it. So definitely let me know how you would have worn these colors together down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this color story. And yeah, that is everything. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.